Hello, I'm Roddy Cohn. I'm the Managing Director of Cohn Cougar, and we have made this video to try and help people who have been invested in Woodford Investment Management and are feeling a little low from all the bad publicity and, if you like, media commentary on the problems associated with that investment. What dawned on us is that a lot of people are affected particularly by the income that they relied upon from the fund, and so we've come up with this video to try and say, look, there are some positive things that you can do. So here you are, 4 quick, useful tips that might help you with your own portfolio if you found yourself either stressed or in difficulty over what's happened at Woodford Investment Management. Let me start by saying the first place for you to start is to look at the whole of your investment portfolio, which we call asset allocation. Where is your money invested? And you've got to review your portfolio now in the light that depending on how much money you had in Woodford Investment Management, and we know from newspapers like the FT and on Radio 4, we've heard very tragic stories of people putting their whole pension fund in there, but hopefully you're amongst the investors who probably had maybe 20, 30, 40% of your money in there, and you're worried about how you're going to address the shortfall in income as a consequence of what's happened. So we suggest you start out by looking at where your money is invested, and that's called asset allocation. You could then start to look at some investment funds that pay a higher level of income than you were receiving from Woodford. Now we're going to give you one suggestion, is Schroeder Income Maximizer. That pays a yield currently of around 7% and has consistently done so over many, many years. Looking at funds like that and making sure you're happy with the risk profile of those funds will at least allow you to counterbalance the shortfall in income you might be experiencing. What else could you do? Well, an obvious thing to do is look at the tax shelters that are available to you. So let's assume for a second you already use your ISA allowances because you know your income's tax-free. The second thing you should be doing is for those investments that are held outside your ISAs, you have a capital gains tax allowance. That means you can make £12,000 of profit each year and not pay any income tax. So if you substitute in your thinking the profits you've made on the rest of your portfolio, strip out those gains, but tell yourself, that's my income this month or this quarter or even this year, you'll start to feel a bit happier about any shortfall that you're worried about from Woodford Investment Management. There are other things that you could do on the tax side. Obvious ones are making sure that you're using your dividend allowance, and other ones are if you're a married couple and you or your spouse is a higher rate taxpayer, then consider changing your portfolio to make sure you're not paying unnecessary income tax on those dividends. The final thing that I want to talk to you about is a thing called sequence risk. Once you've done all of those things, make sure you look at your portfolio in the context of a thing called sequence risk. Putting this in oversimplified English, what that's telling you is that if your returns are received in a certain order, so for example, it could be 5 years of positive returns or 5 years of negative returns, that can have a dramatic impact on how long your money lasts. So make sure you factor that into all the above suggestions that we've made. So, in summary, look at your asset allocation. Consider changing some of your existing funds that obviously aren't with Woodford Investment Management into ones that pay a higher level of income. Reflect and make sure you're utilising your tax exemptions fully. Finally, look at sequence risk and make sure you incorporate that into all your other assumptions. I want you to know, we understand this isn't a panacea, and for those of you who are still very worried about the situation, there's nothing that's going to make that feel much better. However, what we've tried to do in this video is empower you a little bit more with more positive stories. All I seem to read is, about how Hargreaves Lansdown has kept promoting the fund when they shouldn't, or how people on Radio 4 put all their investments into the fund and now can't get a standard of living, an income to live off. So when you look at it like that, I'm trying to help you find positive ways you can look at your portfolio and do something that makes you feel better and actually may even work out to be something that helps you a lot. We wish you well.